It's Thursday, April 13th. This is the CBC Morning Report. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story, a caution that the cost of power could go up given the hike in oil prices. The cost of power and alternative energy has been making headlines globally and locally, but economist Justin Ram told the CBC Morning Report with oil at $85 per barrel, the highest yet, we should be prepared for increases.
The fuels, the electricity that we use is the price of those are directly linked to the cost of a barrel of oil. And so the change in the price of a barrel of oil will of course impact these things. However, $85 per barrel is still not a very high price given the recent history of the price of oil, and I think that it's a price that's going to be fairly manageable. Although, because it has increased, we're likely to see an increase in perhaps the price of road fuels, as well as possibly the price of electricity.
Dr. Ram also spoke to the issue of alternative energy, especially electric vehicles, which was also addressed in terms of the tax which government is collecting.
The duties and taxes, particularly as it relates to road vehicles, has recently been placed on fuels. So if you remember now, there is no annual road tax, and most of the taxes as it relates to the use of roads is now collected through the purchase of fuels. And because electric vehicles do not need to have those purchases, so users don't need to purchase fuel, the government would be losing tax revenues as a result of that, and that of course would have a fiscal impact. So what's happening now is that the government is making an attempt to recover some of the lost revenue as more and more people move towards the use of electric vehicles, so that they can now recover some of the costs associated with road use, and hence the need now for government to have these duties, taxes being applied to electric vehicles to close the fiscal gap that would have arisen from the sale of electric vehicles, and of course the reduction in the sale of road fuels as a result.
Dr. Ram further believes that while there is a price associated with global warming and it's noble to reduce the carbon footprint, it is not without economic costs.
Carbon emissions, the costs associated with that are intergenerational, and we all know that to avoid the worst effects or impacts of climate change, there are some costs that the current generation has to bear, but we are in effect trying to reduce the costs that future generations will have to bear. And we are also starting to feel some of the impacts of climate change. So in order to build our resilience to that, current generation has to bear some costs. How much of that cost we in Barbados need to bear, well, that's another matter. But I think it's well known that in order to reduce carbon emissions and to move to a green economy, there are some upfront costs that we would have to bear. But the idea here is that over the long run, the overall net benefits of this would outweigh these initial costs.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, crop over plans being put in place for 2023.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Beijing Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity.
Barbadians should know by early next month whether there will be a Soca Monarch competition during this year's Crop Over Festival. After the National Cultural Foundation announced last month there would be none, Calypsonian Adrian Clark has decided to fill the void. However, he says with only a few months to execute, the staging of the Caribbean Soca Monarch or Soca Rumble will depend on successfully getting the backing of corporate Barbados.
They've been looking good so far, but I'm not 100%. I can't say I'm 100% sure that it will, because there's a lot of money looking at raising in a very short space of time. We have some interested parties, so we'll see how it goes. We're looking at making the prizes just as interesting. So, yes, the interest is there within the artists, the interest is there within John Public. So it's just a matter of getting some more interest from corporate Barbados and see if we can get this event to happen.
Mr. Clark says Bushy Park in St. Philip has already been identified as the potential venue for the event.
That's where we need to be. You know, adequate, more than adequate parking, more than adequate space for everybody. And when it comes to branding and stuff, nothing is hidden. Everything will be seen. And as I said, one of the most important things about Bushy Park is that Bushy Park has the space for the exterior space for parking. It's endless parking space. So why not go back there?
And as Crop Over promotions continue to gear up, Ticket Links is assuring promoters of Crop Over events that they are ready to serve and in a more scalper-proof environment.
Electronic ticketing has definitely assisted in terms of the security. Promoters can be, more comfortable that persons aren't able to duplicate their tickets. We spend a lot of money ensuring that our tickets are secure. And it generally provides a peace of mind for the promoter that their investment is safe. Just before the Crop Over season, though, we have the Reggae Festival coming up. That is a major event coming up at the end of this month.
Further afield, Ukrainian officials have condemned Russian forces after a video circulating on social media appeared to show the beheading of a Ukrainian prisoner with a knife. There hasn't been an independent verification of the authenticity of the video, which has spread quickly online.
This footage appears to have been shot on a mobile phone, appeared overnight. It is extremely gruesome to watch. In no way fit for broadcast. I must add, we cannot independently verify it, although it is getting an enormous amount of traction on social media here in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian government is certainly treating it as though it is genuine. Two videos, in point of fact. The first appears to show the corpses of two Ukrainian soldiers lying on the ground, beheaded beside a destroyed military vehicle. The second video, much more graphic than that, appears to show Russian soldiers torturing a Ukrainian prisoner of war and then beheading him. And at the moment that the beheading begins using a knife, there are signs that this soldier may in fact have been alive at that point. As I say, no independent means of verifying this video, nor its context, nor the units involved, nor where or when it was shot, although the lush green foliage, particularly in the second video, indicates that it probably took place well before the beginning of winter last year. Ukrainian reaction, as you can probably imagine, has been swift and angry. Ukrainian politicians suggesting that Russia be stripped of its presidency of the UN Security Council. Another, the Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba, likening Russia to the Islamic State. And of course, President Zelensky has made a video statement in which he called on every world leader to react. There he said, don't expect this to be forgotten. We are not going to forget. Here's what he had to say.
There's something that no one in the world can ignore, how easily these beasts kill. This video, the execution of a Ukrainian captive, the world must see it. There are no people for them, a son, a brother, a husband, someone's child. This is video of Russia trying to make this a new norm, such a habit of destroying life.
There's also been international reaction. Here in Ukraine, the UN mission says it's appalled by the video, and the European Union says, if confirmed, these images are yet another brutal reminder about the inhumane nature of Russian aggression. The EU reiterating its commitment to holding all perpetrators and accomplices of war crimes to account.
It's time now to preview what's coming up on today's Morning Barbados. Risk for Teens, a new program, an intervention type program that will be coming on stream shortly. Ken Hackshaw, the founder and president of Caribbean Risk Management Academy, will be in to tell us more about that. Also, NGO I Am a Girl was in Geneva lately for a special session, and they're going to be in to share more about that. Plus, something for the children as we move on. It's still the holiday, so Auntie Giggles will be in to tell us all about a free mini concert that's coming up, and we take a look back at Autism Awareness Month with Frederick Johnson, president of the Autism Association of Barbados, and Lynn Marie Jack, a member of the Autism Association of Barbados. Also, the Child Care Board is coming to you. If you want to find out more, you definitely have to stay tuned for what's coming up on today's Morning Barbados. We have more news, sports, and weather after this break.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at
More and more victims of domestic violence are calling for help, but many of them are still afraid to speak up and do not know where to turn for help. Founder of the Save Foundation, Lizelle Daisley, says the number of calls first went up during COVID, but since then, they're still going up.
We would have seen an increase of about 50% during the COVID period in terms of people reaching out for counseling and for somewhere safe to go, also for foodstuff and toiletries. And we've seen a steady continuation of that increase, even though we are now out of the pandemic. So some days we can get 7 to 8 calls to the hotline in terms of people calling, asking for counseling, asking for help, and asking for somewhere safe to go. We find a lot of the survivors are either unemployed or underemployed, and they can't really leave the situation. So they feel stuck and they feel as though they have to remain in that situation for financial reasons mostly.
Ms. Daisley says her foundation must continue to keep domestic abuse in the public domain as the seriousness of the issue hasn't fully hit home.
People still don't really see this issue as a very serious one, unfortunately. And this is another reason why victims of abuse don't really reach out for help, because they figure they will be judged and that people wouldn't believe them or take them seriously. So it is very important that the community also recognizes the signs of abuse. If you see somebody's making excuses for bruises and so on that are not explainable, then maybe you can dig a little deeper and try to see if you can help that person.
While some local fisherfolk are at a loss about the recent escalation in tensions on the long-standing Barbados-Trinidad-Tobago fishing dispute. Recently, in the Trinidad media, the fisherfolk from the Twin Island state voiced concern about Barbadians overfishing in Tobago waters. When CBC visited the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex yesterday, those involved in the sector weighed in on the matter.
I never had a problem with the Tobago fishermen. The Tobago fishermen don't have no problem with reef, so I don't know where this thing that them talking about that on Facebook. I know where it come from, but I know come home fishing only. I come home yesterday morning and I had a problem with nobody. So I know.
I ain't going to Tobago. I going up in the sea, so I get up in the sea. I'm more safe because when the wind blow down, you don't go start the boat can drift and come straight home. But when you come in from Tobago, now you got rough seas, now you can be a problem getting home. You can live in northeast or southeast. So if you go 150 miles, chances are you could get fish up there too when you go in Tobago. So if the fish that gather in Tobago, the men is going to catch fish. I ain't got a problem with them going out there, but I ain't going.
Sometimes they can go as far as the Hilton and catch flying fish. So it's not really a matter to be resolved because the flying fish is not really now living in Trinidad any longer.
Well, the business of healthcare is to be taught in schools in Barbados and the region. Word of this from healthcare consultant with Health Strategy Consulting and Mediation Services, Kathleen Brathwaite. She says talks have started among the stakeholders.
Just like we have the theoretical aspect of healthcare, and this is not limited to nurses or doctors, could be phlebotomists, lab techs, the whole gamut of healthcare professionals. Well, you have the theory aspect and you also have the clinical aspect. The vision is to have a course created where healthcare professionals can tune into their emotional intelligence, cue into their self-awareness, have them channel that energy into self so that when they present themselves in the clinical area to the patient in the vulnerable state, they're at their best.
Well, issues like self-care and traumas are also occupying the attention of professionals and the healthcare consultant. Ms. Brathwaite notes too much is taken for granted in the industry.
Self-care is extremely important, and we oftentimes as healthcare professionals take it for granted. Our institutions, our leaders, we take it for granted, and sometimes you hear the public saying, "Oh, what are they fussing about? That's your job, get on with it." But understand, if I may cue you into a little bit of the neurobiology of the stress response. So our bodies are remarkable. And when we engage with stress, this is what happens. Our body initiates a fight and flight response. We get excited. The stimulus is isolated. And then our parasympathetic system, it takes us to a point of rest and digest.
As we look across the region, one Caribbean leader has warned the region is facing a major problem as eating healthy is expensive. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali is calling attention to the matter, noting the region has the highest cost for a healthy diet. He was at the time addressing a Caribbean leaders' open dialogue.
This is important because food production is linked not only to social security, to livelihood issues, but also to health. And when you look at a healthy diet, in the region, we have the highest costs at US $3.89 per person. Whilst in the US, it is US $3.46 per person. In North America and Europe, it is $3 per person. So that's an added problem we have. And that is because of the education program. We need to reorient the education program on food consumption and use in the region.
Now, during that address, Dr. Ali has also advised on the importance of the region addressing the issue of youth and women's involvement in agriculture.
We have set ourselves some target here in Guyana. For example, we have designated one region to be the livestock capital of the region. We're working with Barbados on expanding the black belly breed in the region. We're working on a new aquaculture project for prawn production and tilapia. So with the work that we're doing in the different countries within the region, I am very, very confident that in fish production, in corn and soya, in shrimp production, in enhanced hydroponics production for things like romaine lettuce and other products that we are importing, that we will be in a good position not only to be self-sufficient, but to be net exporter in this region.
And still in that Caribbean nation, Guyana is looking for investors to explore the possibility of deposits of lithium and other rare minerals. The government remains upbeat, as we hear from TVG.
This was explained by Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat during a recent broadcast interview. Outside of the possibility of lithium, copper has been found in Guyana. Both of these minerals can be used in the production of batteries and solar panels, respectively.
We have, as I mentioned, we have gold, we have diamond, significant exploration, we have some of the major, for example, the biggest Canadian gold company is in Guyana right now, Barrick Gold. But we are looking at copper, as I mentioned. We have found a deposit, a significant deposit of copper. And also we are looking at investors to come in and to do exploration for lithium and other rare earth elements. Minerals that are needed or considered as critical minerals that are needed to ensure that we move towards renewable energy in terms of battery production, solar panel.
The minister explained that such minerals can be useful for renewable energy production. In fact, he described lithium as possibly the next gold. There is a problem, however, with the availability of new data on how many minerals Guyana actually has. According to Minister Bharat, an updated mineral inventory is needed in Guyana.
And the headlines from the next story reading like a plot from a movie. A series of leaked reports purporting to be classified U.S. intelligence documents linked to the war in Ukraine has drawn skepticism and denials from U.S. spy agencies and several U.S. allies. Photos of the classified files began circulating widely on Russian social media channels just last week, but some were published on the gamers' website Discord back in February and March.
These appear to be daily updates to the joint military chiefs of staff, the military leadership here in the U.S. That's why there's such breadth of topics and regions and countries that are coming out. Reuters says it's exclusively got its hands on a new document which says that Serbia agreed to supply arms to Ukraine despite professing neutrality on the conflict and refusing to sanction Russia for the invasion. So that's rather explosive, if true. But again, these are the assessments of allegedly off the Pentagon as to the state of play when it comes to supplying arms to Ukraine. The BBC says it's got its hands on a document which suggests extensive spying in UN headquarters. To be honest, we know that goes on because we had the WikiLeaks State Department cables in 2010, which from Edward Snowden, which showed there was extensive spying by the US, a complete flouting of the Vienna Convention at UN headquarters.
We turn our attention now to sports. They came back on several different flights, but the Carifta swim team is now back home after a good showing at the 36 championships in Curacao. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports.
The rousing reception of applause and cheers said it all. The Carifta swim team is back home after collecting 35 medals, 10 gold, 10 silver and 15 bronze at the just concluded 36 Carifta swimming championships in Curacao. Among the star performers were Heidi Stout, who ended the games with 6 gold medals, and Adara Stoddard, who ended with 1 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze. Both girls are pleased with their performances.
I was pretty happy with my performances. I also did the open water swim and I got a gold in that, so that was also unexpected.
My overall performance made the goals I set for myself, especially since I'm still kind of injured. I'm very pleased with how I performed at the Carifta Games.
Amaya Harrison was also a standout in the girls 11 to 12, and she too was pleased with the way she performed.
Overall, I got 9 medals, which I'm really proud of, but I wanted to come out with at least a gold medal. Sadly, I didn't, but in those events, I did get PBs, which is good enough for me.
Head coach Dave Farmer said the championships were challenging for the swimmers given the hectic schedule and the increase in the number of swimmers competing across the participating countries. Overall, however, he could have asked for a better showing from his team.
I think we gave a good account of ourselves with the numbers we had and with the resources. By the resources, I mean with the actual swimmers on the team. I think we did very well. The performances by Heidi Stout just stood head and shoulders above most of the team, or all of the team at this point. And I think Adara Stoddard contributed very solidly with her medals. So did Jaya Simmons and Maya Harrison as well, and Zachary Burke. These are some of the performances. There may be 1 or 2 others that may cross my mind on my way home, so to speak, because it is rather late at night. But I would say that those would be the ones that really come to mind immediately.
The swimmers will now turn their attention to the upcoming Junior Commonwealth Games in Trinidad and the CCCAN Championships in El Salvador set for June.
Well, thanks for that report, Anne-Marie, bringing this edition of the Morning Report to an end. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 p.m. on TV8. But before we leave you, let's take in the weather. The barometric pressure stands at 1012 millibars. Air temperature 25 degrees, humidity 73%, and the winds are coming out of the east at 22 kilometers per hour. Is moderate in open water with northerly swells ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters. The first high will be at 15 minutes before 9 this morning, and your second low tide will be at 10 minutes after 4. Forecast for Barbados for today, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And into the evening, you can absolutely expect a mix of clear skies and clouds as well, with a few brief isolated light showers, so plan accordingly. Here's a look at a few select international cities. Well, that's it from us. Remember, you can listen out for Newsday at 12 noon today on TV8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network on stations 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. It's 6:30. Morning Barbados is next.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning indeed. It's already April 13th and a Thursday. The week has gone by so quickly. That's because we had a short A long weekend, a short week, now a short week and a short weekend. But we have other holidays coming up. Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in and staying with us. I'm Tisha Hines, and I'll be here with you for a little bit as we bring you some wonderful interviews, updates, and news from all across Barbados, the region, and the world. I certainly hope that you started your day with something positive. If you like tea, something nice and hot, maybe you like juice, I don't know. A lot of Barbadians don't tend to be breakfast people, so I don't know. Whatever you do though, be careful when you hit the roads around Barbados. If you're on holiday, congratulations to you. If you're celebrating a birthday or anniversary today, it's good to have you in company as well. And we're going to give you an opportunity to get in so that we share a little bit more about that. We'll tell you how coming up as well. So on today's show, we are going to be talking with NGO I Am Girl, and recently they were in Geneva. Aliane Oliver Skeet is the executive director of I Am a Girl NGO, and she's going to come through to share with us. She's definitely a partner to the show. We know her very well, and we're very proud of her work, so we really are looking forward to exactly how things went there and how that will translate to doing wonderful things here on island as well. We're also going to be telling you about something very exciting and quite indigenous, marble cricket. There's going to be a marble cricket tour. Diane Prescott, the marketing assistant at Kensington Oval Management Inc., is coming through along with their project assistant, Rico Cumberbatch, to talk about the marble cricket tour that's starting on the 15th of April. I definitely am very, very intrigued to hear a whole lot more about that. It's a new interactive tour that's coming to Kensington Oval, so we want to share that with you. Plus, Auntie Giggles' free mini concert is coming up, and we're going to tell you about that. That's also coming off on the 15th of April at the YMCA. We are going to tell you all about why you should get the kids involved, exactly what will be happening, and how you can be a part of it. Now, as we reflect on the observance of Autism Awareness Month, we are going to be talking to some members of the Autism Association of Barbados, Frederick Johnson, as well as Lynn Marie Jack. They're going to come through as we discuss all about, what's happening these days, an update of how they are coping with their organization, what they're doing to bring more awareness to autism. And of course, we're going to lay on the table some of those signs that you can look for. A lot of the times, some children might be on the spectrum and we don't even know. So that definitely is a conversation you want to listen into. Plus, the childcare board is coming to you. How about that? Just something that is wonderful to hear. Roxanne Sanderson, Senior Child Care Officer and Child Abuse Coordinator at the board, is going to be sharing with us about a campaign for Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. So we definitely are going to listen up for that as well. They're going to be out and about in the community, so we want to hear how they are going to be engaging and interacting with us over the next 2 weeks. But we want to start with a very interesting interview where we're talking about Risk for Teens. It's a program that has come on stream, and these are almost like interventions working toward helping teens on a monthly basis. So let's invite Ken Hackshaw, who is the founder and president of Caribbean Risk Management Academy, to join us on the program to talk a little bit more about that. Good morning to you, Ken. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Tisha, and thanks for having us with you.
All right, so first of all, Risk for Teens. Start by laying out for us exactly what it is.
Okay, so the Caribbean Risk Management Academy offers training and development, education in the risk management space. For a matter of fact, we host an international certificate in enterprise risk management through UWI Cable School of Business under Dr. Dean Greenidge and his team. And so as an extension of what we do for adults, for businesses, we recognize that the young population, kids, teenagers, are lacking certain cognitive skills. if I may call it cognitive skills. So one good example is the fact that experts in psychology say that we need to try and move kids from being the reassured child to be a resilient child. And that's the expert speaking. So I'm no psychology expert. I'm a risk management practitioner. And a big part of that is to change the mindset of the young ones, the future leaders. So about a year ago, we started doing what we call risk for teens, and we go into we invited to come into either schools or youth clubs and have like a 45-minute conversation with the teenagers about the fundamentals of risk management.
All right,
and that's the genesis of it. Yeah.
Generally, that's funny because quite recently I read that there were a few states in the U.S. that banned trophies of participation. And I think that kind of summarizes exactly what you were talking about in terms of building resilient children instead of this just rewarding them for sometimes absolutely nothing. So let's talk specifically about the program and where the rubber, so to speak, meets the road. What exactly will be happening?
So let me give you an example. So we teach them about risk management concepts, things like the difference between a risk and a hazard, vulnerability versus resilience. And so a good example would be, once we explain or define what vulnerability is, we would ask, okay, so give us an example of when you thought you were vulnerable based on this new definition of vulnerability. So there's an old adage that goes, ignorance frequently begets confidence in the absence of knowledge. So now that they understand the definition of vulnerability, they share with us examples of when they believe they were vulnerable. And so we have a conversation. So this is not necessarily a training moment with kids or a teaching moment. These are conversations we have with them. And so then we discuss, okay, if you believe you're vulnerable, what then can you do to make yourself less vulnerable? Maybe a bit more resilient. And it's with these conversations that you get to find out that, we teach history classes in schools. Why? Maybe we should start teaching some future classes, future-proofing the next generation of leaders, making them more agile and adaptive. The experts say that's the new 21st century skills we need of our upcoming or future leaders. So that's where, to your point, where the rubber meets the road. Once they understand these terminologies, concepts, a threat versus a risk versus a hazard, they are now able to identify with events, let's say, both at school or on the way to school or at home, and relate to it. And it's proving very, very effective. The feedback has been tremendous.
Because I would imagine if you can identify what's happening, then you're better equipped to figure out how you will respond. Yeah. So very, very interesting. Now, I see that one of your major talking points is, and you mentioned it, educating teens about risk or building risk-intelligent youth populations across the Caribbean. What are some of these risks that we're talking about, and have they changed over the years?
So, well, yes. So in the adult space, for businesses or students who come to do our professional certificate, we talk about living in a very volatile, uncertain environment. Hyper-connected, where risk in one space is moving so fast, and we are living it. Your news this morning speaks to some of that. So why aren't we now bringing in the teens along that same continuum? It's great that they're learning about social sciences and life skills, but we need to then have them think a little bit differently. We need to inculcate a different type of thinking with our teenagers, with our future leaders. We need to make them a bit more prepared. So if we are saying, as practitioners, as parents, as adults, that the current environment is very, very uncertain, it's volatile, it's risk-prone. We need to make sure that the kids are aware of that. They need to know that as well. They need to understand what is future-proofing. How do I then ring-fence my home, my community? How do I then become more risk intelligent? And the only way that happens is through training, through teachings, through involvement like the workshops we have for teens. It's the same thing we're doing for adults. So it's not that we necessarily dumb it down for the kids, but we make it more palatable. A colleague of mine who works with me, Miss Mira, she uses games, video games to where we could use some analogies with how you get ready, or how you act, or how you interact with other kids when you're playing games, and so that helps with their quick understanding of the terminologies and concepts. So it's to employ those types of training methodologies so that it's more palatable with them. But again, if nothing else, they need to be not as risk intelligent, but more risk intelligent than they are, because they're living in the same very uncertain, volatile, disruptive space that we as adults and professionals live and work in.
Ken, it's a really thin line we're walking, because we still don't want to have our teens so scared about potential risks out there in the world that they're afraid to venture out. So how do you strike that balance?
Well, so yeah, it's more of so it's not scaring them into the reality. It's preparing them. It's knowledge. And again, I go back to that whole adage that ignorance begets a certain level of confidence in the absence of knowledge. So having knowledge of helps you prepare for. And again, the way it's presented, it's not all doom and gloom, because with risk comes opportunity. And so we have those conversations with them. But in the absence of knowing what potentially could be around the corner, then you could run into problems with the teenagers. And so it's not about warning them, but it's more of preparing them. And that's where the knowledge or the training and the concepts and the methodologies, the lessons learned with case studies into risk management. And again, it's made palatable for them. It's presented in a form and a fashion that they can relate to. But in the absence of that, how can we then prepare them to take over the businesses, the schools, the organizations? That needs to be part, I dare say, of the curriculum that they may be exposed to in primary, secondary school at certain levels, at certain phases, certain scales. But it's not all doom and gloom. So it's not like we are the boogeyman, but it's to let them know that this is the environment we're in. This is what makes you vulnerable. This is what can make you more resilient. And it's just increasing their risk intelligent quotient. That's what it is, their risk intelligence.
All right. How do we tap in? How do we benefit from what's being offered? And what shape do these interventions or these teaching sessions, what shape do they take?
It's actually conversations. So as the pictures you were showing, we have conversations with, and you would be surprised once they understand, or once they become knowledgeable. I don't necessarily like to use the word aware, but once they know what these terminologies, and I use the example of vulnerability. And so one of the teens was saying, when I was walking home from school, and they went on to explain certain things. And so then the question will be, do you consider that a risk? And so then obviously we would explain what risk literally means versus what a hazard or a threat means. So they know the difference. And in knowing that, they know then how to respond or to react. And so again, it's not we go with PowerPoint presentations. It's basic concepts with examples made relative and palatable to them, and then they start opening up and sharing with us what they believe that these terms may mean to them, and then if we need to correct them or expand on it. Okay. So it's a conversation, and it works beautifully.
Ken, I'm definitely intrigued, and I know there are a lot of parents out here who are as well. So where can we find you online quickly as we wrap?
Yeah. So CaribbeanRiskManagement.com. All of the contact details are there, and feel free. And parents do come along with their kids in these sessions, and they
All
are
right.
even more engaged.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming through. Ken Hackshaw, founder and president of Caribbean Risk Management Academy. Thank you so much for your time. Coming up, Alianne Oliver is here. She went over to Geneva, and she's going to tell us exactly what I Am a Girl NGO organization is up to. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Just 12 minutes to go before 7 o'clock. This is Morning Barbados. Good to have you in company. I wish you could send me a cup of tea through the TV. I don't know if that one will work out. We'll have to figure it out. Maybe sometime in the future, the way technology is going, who knows? All those things we used to see on the Jetsons might just come to pass. All right, so we mentioned that Alianne Oliver Skeet, Executive Director of I Am a Girl NGO, is here with us this morning. And she went on a trip to Geneva. I understand that you have been doing what you do best and bringing awareness to some of the most important topics that affect some of the most vulnerable among us. So good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Tisha. Thanks for having me.
All right, so talk to us about your last stint in Geneva.
So went on over to Geneva, Switzerland, and that was really part of the UPR Preview 43 for Barbados specifically. And it gave civil society organizations in different territories around the world an opportunity to present to our governments what our concerns are, what are some of the things that we are recommending for change on the island, and how they can maybe shift the narrative of some of the issues that, at least for us, girls and women face daily. So a lot of our interventions and contributions on the days that we were there were specifically for women and girls, really focusing on the legislative reform in Barbados and ensuring that we are not missing any elements or components that could actually harm girls and women in a more severe way.
I know in these sessions you really get to hear from a lot of people. You get to engage with people from all over the world. So where do we sit in the grand scheme of things? I know that doesn't make a difference on the ground, but it certainly can add leverage in your quest to get more attention paid to these issues that disproportionately affect women and girls. So on a world scale, where do we sit in terms of moving forward with legislation?
I think in general, we have made tremendous strides over the years, because I Am a Girl would have made recommendations back in 2017, and some of those recommendations have been considered on the national scale. But we've found that there's always gaps that we can fill. So whether it's the Sexual Offences Act that needs further reform in ensuring that we are not causing further harm, or it's just as simple as creating other mechanisms to support some of the issues. So for example, we all know as a society, or I feel like we should know as a society, that domestic violence is at a complete ridiculous high, right? We have a culture here in Barbados that specifically is accepting what I feel, accepting incest, accepting the uncles and some of the aunts and the family friends that come into the community as it's okay because they're a good person, right? So we are accepting it. We are accepting it by not speaking out, by not trying to ensure that we protect our girls and boys. We are accepting it as a community, as a culture. And part of not accepting it is making sure that within legislation, we are creating stiffer penalties. We are having a no bars approach to not accepting that this is okay, right? Even making sure that there is a separate domestic violence court. Because let's face it, our court system is struggling. It's at a place where cases sometimes for rape or for any form of violence take sometimes decades to come to play. We have girls who may be affected at the age of 12, and when they're 25, no their case being heard. So there's a lot that still needs to be done in our community. There's a lot that still needs to be done at the governmental level, and these interventions help us to put that on a global platform. Others are able to contribute. Other countries are able to provide other recommendations based on what they have done in their countries. And then from there, we can ensure that we are implementing it with best practices at a global level.
What are some of the recommendations that you are advancing as an NGO? Because I know, for example, in the U.S., they moved to a position where a charge of domestic violence is a charge against the state in some instances, or matters of incest, so therefore someone can't then step in and say, okay, because we know how relationships go, say, I'm changing my mind, which is what we see a lot of the times. And I think that contributes as well to maybe law enforcement and other people saying, well, she's just going to go back. So what are some of the recommendations that are being advanced to kind of jump these hurdles?
Well, there's a number of things. I think for us, we put forward quite a few recommendations, probably about 10. And amongst those, we're ensuring that there's stiffer fines and penalties for incest and molestation, ensuring that there are mechanisms in place that survivors and our victims do not feel abused and misused through the court system, having separate court structures for domestic violence specifically, that all that is being heard in that court is specific to violence, having new or other persons within the court system trained effectively, that they can effectively manage these cases on a daily basis, having judges who are specifically assigned to that court and continuously trained as well. Across the board, ensuring that all who are involved in matters of violence are going to be as effective for the victims and survivors as possible. Counseling, because I think we miss the mark when it comes to mental wellness for those affected by these cases. And, it's really a community effort. I think in general, as an organization, we feel like not much is being done to ensure that girls feel safe. And that's just it. We want girls to feel safe, and also boys, right? We want all youth to feel safe, but particularly girls, because they are disproportionately affected by many of these issues. And we seem to be turning a blind eye. And culturally, is really about shifting how we look at it, and stiffer penalties could add to that.
Listen, you can check out Alianne and find out more at iamagirl.ngo, so you definitely should go check that out. As we wrap, I want to hear from you, and I want some straight talk. a lot of these things can end up really being talk shops. How do we move past talk shops and get some action?
By being a pressure cooker to the government, by ensuring that we don't let up on these issues, by campaigning and putting our recommendations forward on a consistent basis, as we as an organization have been doing, by building partnerships with other organizations, because very often we work in silos. And I know even as part of the National Organization of Women, we have been trying to put that pressure on the powers that be. And I think it's important to also culturally shift the mindset of our people, and that can be done in different ways.
Alianne Oliver, is always so good to see you. So congratulations on all of the work you're doing, and you most certainly must check in and let us know how we can play our role in getting the information out and sharing as well. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much for sharing with us this morning.
Thank you, Tisha.
All right, and you heard what the lady said. We have to be a pressure cooker. It means you have to put the information out there and not be afraid. All of the organizations set up to help, hey, get into action. All right, when we come back, we are talking marble cricket. That is after an update of the news, so stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, it's quickly heading up to the 7 o'clock hour. Time to update you on the news. A caution that the cost of power could go up given the hike in oil prices. The cost of power and alternative energy has been making headlines globally and locally, but economist Justin Ram told the CBC Morning Report, with oil at $85 per barrel, the highest yet, we should be prepared for increases.
The fuels, the electricity that we use is directly the price of those are directly linked to the cost of a barrel of oil. And so the change in the price of a barrel of oil will, of course, impact these things. However, $85 per barrel is still not a very high price given the recent history of the price of oil. And I think that it's a price that's going to be fairly manageable. Although, because it has increased, we're likely to see an increase in perhaps the price of road fuels, as well as possibly the price of electricity.
And the issue of alternative energy, especially electric vehicles, was also addressed in terms of the tax which government is collecting.
The fuels, the electricity, that the duties and taxes, particularly as it relates to road vehicles, has recently been placed on fuels. So if you remember now, there is no annual road tax, and most of the taxes as it relates to the use of roads is now collected through the purchase of fuels. And because electric vehicles do not need to have those purchases, so users don't need to purchase fuel, the government would be losing tax revenues as a result of that, and that, of course, would have a fiscal impact. So what's happening now is that the government is making an attempt to recover some of the lost revenue as more and more people move towards the use of electric vehicles, so that they can now recover some of the costs associated with road use. And hence the need now for government to have these duties, taxes being applied to electric vehicles to close the fiscal gap that would have arisen from the sale of electric vehicles, and of course the reduction in the sale of road fuels as a result.
Dr. Ram believes that while there is a price associated with global warming and it's noble to reduce the carbon footprint, it is not without economic costs.
Carbon emissions, the costs associated with that are intergenerational. And we all know that to avoid the worst effects or impacts of climate change, there are some costs that the current generation has to bear. But we are in effect trying to reduce the costs that future generations will have to bear. And we are also starting to feel some of the impacts of climate change. So in order to build our resilience to that, current generation has to bear some costs. How much of that cost we in Barbados need to bear? Well, that's another matter. But I think it's well known that in order to reduce carbon emissions and to move to a green economy, there are some upfront costs that we would have to bear. But the idea here is that over the long run, the overall net benefits of this would outweigh these initial costs.
And this morning we're hearing that more and more victims of domestic violence are calling for help, but many of them are still afraid to speak up and do not know where to turn for help. Founder of the SAVE Foundation, Lizelle Daisley, says the number of calls first went up during the COVID-19 pandemic, but since then they're still going up.
We would have seen an increase of about 50% during the COVID period in terms of people reaching out for counseling and for somewhere safe to go, also for foodstuff and toiletries. And we've seen a steady continuation of that increase, even though we are now out of the pandemic. So some days we can get 7 to 8 calls to the hotline in terms of people calling, asking for counseling, asking for help, and asking for somewhere safe to go. We find a lot of the survivors are either unemployed or underemployed, and they can't really leave the situation. So they feel stuck and they feel as though they have to remain in that situation for financial reasons mostly.
Now, Ms. Daisley says her foundation must continue to keep domestic abuse in the public domain as the seriousness of the issue hasn't fully hit home as yet.
People still don't really see this issue as a very serious one, unfortunately. And this is another reason why victims of abuse don't really reach out for help, because they figure they will be judged and that people wouldn't believe them or take them seriously. So it is very important that the community also recognizes the signs of abuse. If you see somebody's making excuses for bruises and so on that are not explainable, then maybe you can dig a little deeper and try to see if you can help that person.
That's our news update at 7. We'll have more news for you at 12 noon in CBC Newsday. And you can tune in to our stations 94.7 FM, 100.7 FM, and 98.1 The One for the CBC News World at 1. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. Good to have you with us on this beautiful morning. What are you loving most about the vacation time? I'm listening. For me, it's traffic. I mean, it's like home free. You know, I'm still in a little bit of traffic, but not as much. So I hope that's your experience as you make your commute to work today or wherever else you're going. Maybe you're going out shopping. A lot of people have been enjoying the beach through the Easter weekend and even now. So there's a lot happening, and you know, it's a perfect time to talk about Moses going to the mountain or the mountain coming to Moses. Now, in this instance, we have Kensington Oval in the studio. How did we get that done? Well, in the form of Diane Prescott, who's marketing assistant at Comey, and Rico Cumberbatch, who's project assistant at Comey. And they're here this morning just to lime with me, right? Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see both of you. All right, so we're talking about the launch on April 15th of marble cricket. And contrary to popular belief, no marbles are involved.
Absolutely no marbles are involved.
So Rico, tell me a little bit about this new upcoming tournament.
All right, so it's really a tour. So Kensington Oval does daily tours, but we wanted to do something more interactive. So we've come up with this marble cricket tour. So you actually get to do the discipline of marble cricket. Most people, I didn't play marble cricket. I heard about marble cricket along the way, but never had the opportunity to see it being played. It's something that's kind of gone off the scene, but we are trying to add it back to the scene. So you get to tour Kensington Oval. We have a bus ride as well attached to this tour. So you start the tour with a bus ride where we go along the way up to the university, visit the burial grounds of the 3 Ws at the University of the West Indies, KPhil, and then we take a drive on the way back to Kensington Oval. After you come back to Kensington Oval, we'll split the tour into half. One half of the group will go to Cricket Legends of Barbados because they're working in collaboration with Cricket Legends of Barbados. So one half of the group will go to the Legends and the other half will come to Kensington Oval. You tour the Oval, and then we have some videos showing telling persons of the history of marble cricket, showing them how the ball was made. So the ball is actually not the traditional ball. The ball was actually made with the inner tubes of a bicycle tire.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm taking it all in. So it's a full tour.
It's a full tour.
That you're going to experience once you come on through. I love this because so many of us drive by Kensington Oval and admire it from the outside. Correct. And we only go when there is some type of event. Yes. So Diane, I note with trepidation that Rico said he is not old enough to have played marble cricket. But he is suggesting then that maybe you had an opportunity to play or observe.
Play? Never. Observe, probably. Probably. So, in addition to that, marble cricket is indigenous to Barbados, and that's why we are focusing on it, really. So, similar to road tennis, persons that were growing up, for instance, Sagari, he wrote a book and he spoke about Lilliput cricket, which is another name for it. And those persons would have played cricket anywhere you could find to play cricket, in the yard, in the road, on the pasture, anywhere. And they could not afford the bats and the cricket equipment at that time. So that's how they learned. That's how they got started in it.
All right, that book is The Cricket Crusader.
Yes.
I believe. Very, very interesting. And we still see it as we move around, probably more in the rural areas, where sometimes you go through a road and you butt some people playing in the road, whether it's road tennis or, as you mentioned, you called it Lilliput cricket.
Lilliput cricket.
Very, very
and
interesting.
The first time I heard that name was when I doing the research, the book that Sagarfield wrote.
All right, so let's delve some more into how things will unfold. How long is this tour?
The actual tour is going to take about 2.5 to 3.5 hours. Why I say that? We're going to be giving persons an opportunity to lunch with a cricket legend.
Wow.
Or to have tea. So when we launch to the public, we're going to be doing 4 tours on that particular day. One of the tours will include lunch with a legend, and one would include tea. Those tours are 3.5 hours. The other tours we anticipate about 2.5 hours.
Will there be a water break in there? Because if we're talking about cricket and you get lunch and tea time, there must be a water break.
Definitely.
Give me no attention.
Definitely. Yeah. So unfolding, as Rico said, it's going to start with the bus ride. You come, you register. We take you on that bus ride. It's going to be a guided tour, on a narrated tour on the bus as well. And then you come back to Kensington and you go through all of the exciting things we have planned for that.
What are some of the little known things you think, Rico, that people don't know about Kensington Oval? Because I think people come into the space and we don't fully appreciate, this is the Mecca.
Correct.
This is the center of cricket in the region. No apologies.
No apologies. Funny thing is, most people think that Kensington Oval is open for cricket and closed after cricket. We are open daily, Monday to Friday. We have a souvenir shop on property where we sell Kensington branded paraphernalia, from key rings, key chains, bottle openers.
Some of these shirts you're wearing too?
Not these ones, but we have some branded polo shirts.
Womp, womp, womp. I wanted a branded shirt like Diane's.
So we have the souvenir shop. We do daily tours as well, between the hours of 9 and 3 p.m. There's staff there at Kensington Oval because the Kensington Oval Management Inc., which is the company that we work for, manages the facility, but the Barbados Cricket Association also shares the space with us, and they deal with the cricketing aspect of the facility. But as you said, it's the Mecca, and a lot of people don't understand why we call it the Mecca. Kensington Oval is the place where most of the first happened for cricket in the region. So the first test match to be played in the Caribbean was played at Kensington Oval in 1930s, April 1930. The first 100 to be scored by a Caribbean person was scored in that game in 1930. We had the first day and night test match. We've hosted 2 Cricket World Cup finals. We hosted the first game ever in the CPL. We can go on. There are so many things about Kensington Oval that makes it the Mecca of cricket in the Caribbean.
Oh, sounds like a wonderful day out for family if you have people visiting, to get them involved as well. Definitely sounds good. Diane, tell me a little bit more about the cricket with the legends. That's definitely an intriguing thing.
Well, the Cricket Legends of Barbados, we're going to be also touring their museum. They have a museum just opposite Kensington Oval, and the legends, a cricket legend of Barbados is someone who would have played for the West Indies team. As long as you make the West Indies team, you become a cricket legend of Barbados. So they're going to be providing some persons at their museum as well to do the tours of their museum. They will also be over at Kensington doing some interaction with the marble cricket. And again, you are going to have an opportunity. Now, legends have what we call icons, And the icons are the older ones like Sigari and because they're icons.
Yes,
hands
sure.
down. So you're going to then have an opportunity to have a sit down lunch and chit chat and stuff with those type of persons. But just what I want to add to is that this store, although it is marble cricket, one of the objectives is also to showcase the Oval, and you touched it a little bit, as a multi-purpose facility. So it's not only cricket, it's not only offices, but we have spaces. It's not only fets, because people also know it for fets.
Yes.
But we have spaces where we can do conferences. We have hospitality suites that you can use as breakout rooms. We have, and the hospitality suites can also be used as off-site offices or off-site meeting spaces for persons that purchase the hospitality suites. And we have a number of different areas around the venue that can be transformed to whatever you think. We've hosted the Baltimore Ravens, for instance, for their preseason training. We've hosted the Professional Football Association out of England, where the people that play in Premier League now, when they retire, they go into the professional association. They've come here, they've played football. We've hosted FIFA. We've hosted international concerts such as Rihanna. We've hosted Senat. So it's a whole venue that you can just, whatever you imagine, that's what we say. Whatever you imagine, we can do at Kensington.
And I know that you have a most efficient staff. I've worked on several events where you guys kind of snap into action and you kind of take everything in hand and work along with the promoters or producers or what have you and really, really get things done. And, you know, so big appreciation to the entire team at Comey for all the fantastic work that you are doing. Now, back to this marble cricket, because I think this might be something I can be good at.
Okay.
Finally. All right.
Yes.
So the tour, what will it cost us? And then how long will the game be?
Okay. The tour, the cost for the tour, we'll release that a little later, because although we're launching on Saturday, just note that this launch is for specially invited guests.
So it's a soft launch.
It's a soft launch. We're inviting the media so that you get to know more about it. And we're inviting the players in the tourism industry and so forth, so that we, you know, we want to build tourism, so we want everybody to be a part of it.
All right, so let's talk numbers. Can anybody come out to be a part of it? Do you have to pre-register? How does it work?
Well, for the lunch and the tea time tours, we're asking you to pre-register, because obviously we have to prepare for that. When we launch to the public, which is going to be around the 6th of May, then all the information will be on our website, on our Facebook at Kensington Oval Barbados, on our Instagram, and we'll have some forms that you can go in. You can either pre-register or you can call the number and we will tell you if there's space or not. So just be patient with us. We're going to get there to the public, but we want to do this soft launch on Saturday.
Well, this is most certainly, you know, a wonderful initiative, and I look forward to it. I must say I've not played Lilliput cricket or marble cricket, and like many Barbadians, I probably would have thought marble cricket had something to do with marbles. So I want to thank you guys for coming in, and do stay in touch, because I think this is going to be a fantastic initiative that really will take off. Everything from the tea and lunch breaks to playing a little cricket, an indigenous version of it, and getting to learn more about our icons, our legends, and the various sites that line up with all that is Comey.
Correct.
Around the island. I love it. Thank you so much. Diane Prescott, Marketing Assistant, and Rico Cumberbatch, Project Assistant at Kensington Oval Management, Inc., spending some time with us to talk about that launch coming up on April 15th, a new interactive tour at Kensington Oval, just making sure that we are fully aware of what is coming. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we have more action for you that you don't want to miss. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 7:23 and we're telling you all about a free mini concert being put on by Auntie Giggles. Kayleen Abijah, good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, thank you.
All right, so Auntie Giggles, where does the name originate? Must I ask?
The name originates from school days. I've always been a person that loves to giggle and laugh, and sometimes at inappropriate times, mostly in school. My teachers would always say, Kayleen, you can go outside now. You can spend a little time out in teacher's balcony and catch yourself and come back. And so that's where the Auntie Giggles really stems from.
Okay, wonderful. So there's a big event coming up. It's very busy this weekend, April 15th, and it's free. So talk to us about this free mini concert that will be held at the YMCA.
Yes, so I have been doing Auntie Giggles for almost 8 years. I do balloon twisting, a puppet show, kids comedy magic, a dance party, etc. And I really love what I do. Of course, I've only been living here in Barbados for almost 3 years. And I wanted the opportunity to bring smiles and laughter to the children. And why not do a little free concert to spread that joy? Yes. I really, really, really love to see people laughing. And it brings joy to my heart to see people laughing and smiling. And so this little concert is just an opportunity to do such. I was looking for a venue that would suit my pocket, and the YMCA was such a place. And so I'll be having this little mini concert at the YMCA from 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturday the 15th of April. Free, free, free. But you must WhatsApp me your one adult name and 2 children's name in order to get in, because of course the space is limited. It will be kids comedy magic, puppet show, dance party, and balloons.
All right, are you a one lady show, Auntie Giggles, or do you bring some friends along?
I'm a one lady show. My children do the puppets. But yes, a one lady show, I do it all.
All right, I would imagine that this brings you tremendous pleasure to be able to interact with little ones, especially in this way.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I take that trait from my mom. She was a music teacher, and she really, really loved children and interacting with children, and so do I. Any opportunity to bring smiles, I jump at the opportunity. Yes, Oystons recently had the fish festival, and I have a bunny costume, so I put it on and just walked around Oystons and allowed people to take pictures. And I mean, to see the smiles and the laughter and the giggles really brought joy to my heart. So it is an exciting opportunity for me to do this on Saturday for the children.
Let's talk a little bit about how you got into this, first of all, and then maybe how the show morphed, because you talked about there being children's comedy, and then magic and a dance party as well. So let's talk about the show itself and how it morphed into what it is now.
Okay, so I started off wanting to do something to bring in extra income because by profession, sign language interpreter. And I said, Kaylin, you love giggles and laughter, so do something along that path. And one day I was looking through YouTube and I saw people twisting balloons, and I said, oh, I could do that. And so I bought balloons and I began to look at videos and taught myself. And then I wanted to add other things to that. So I saw the magic, the kids comedy magic, and so I bought some tricks online, and I began to practice it and hone my skills. And of course, entertaining has always been a part of my family life. My mother was a singer. My sister is a singer. My brother is also a singer. His name is Fridge. Well, his nickname, he goes by nickname Fridge. And so entertaining is so much fun, and it's a delight for me. The concert, of course, I'm not Bajan, and so I have not been getting a lot of jobs thus far. But for me, yes, money is important, but really bringing the smiles is a priority to me, yes. And so I said, let me put together a mini concert so that I can bring that cheer to the boys and girls and even adults of Barbados.
It's true, because, as an adult, I can tell you that just hearing some of these things, it already has me excited. Yes? All right, so remind us of all the details. Is coming up this Saturday at the YMCA. What time are you going to be starting and going to?
It starts at 3 and it ends at 5 p.m. at Saturday at the YMCA. You have to WhatsApp me at 255-8706, and as I said, with one adult name and two children names, so that I can have your name on the list so that I can allow you to come in, because of course the space is limited. I mean, if I had a bigger venue, then more people could come, but maybe next time around we will have that bigger venue. But if you want to come, I will be so happy to bring the smiles, bring the laughter, and I mean, even adults chuckle and laugh when I do my shows, because I have done 1 or 2 birthday parties here in Barbados, and even the adults say you wowed us. Yes, so I look forward with immense joy to Saturday.
Auntie Giggles free mini concert this Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. YMCA is absolutely free. There will be puppet time, children's comedy, magic, and a dance party. I know we're always crying out for things to do with the little ones here in Barbados, so this is a perfect example of something you can absolutely do with the whole family, but you have to call to register. Thank you so much, Kayleen, Auntie Giggles, Abijah, for coming and spending some time with us on Morning Barbados.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing the children.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and make sure you head on out and be a part of that. Sounds like it's going to be really exciting, especially for the little ones. All right, when we come back, we are talking autism awareness. Stay with me.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 minutes to 8 o'clock, 28 minutes to 8 o'clock already. So we promised that we were going to double back and talk a little bit about autism awareness. And to join in this discussion this morning, or to lead us rather, is Frederick Johnson and Lynn Marie Jack. Frederick is president of the Autism Association of Barbados, and Lynn Marie is a member of the association. Good morning and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Tisha. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you guys?
We're very well.
We're good. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So let me start with you, Frederick. I would have had a long relationship with Diane, the late Diane, unfortunately, who has passed on. And I know that working with the Autism Association was major for her. And so it's wonderful to see that, you know, that legacy carries on. So talk to me a little bit before we delve into, you know, some specifics, exactly the work of the organization and what you're doing to get the word out there, really autism awareness.
Well, great. Thanks for the opportunity. The fact is that a lot of people have no idea what autism is about. And they think it's a mental disease, and it's not. It's a developmental disorder, and it affects about 1 in 68 children. Most of them are boys, about 4 times as many boys as girls. And it affects their communication skills, the way that they relate to other people, to other children, to their adults, to their parents. And it affects them as they grow up. In fact, once you're autistic on the spectrum, you never leave it. It's there for life. You have autistic teenagers, autistic adults, and mature people as well.
All right. So,
and
I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead. You continue.
Your first question was about how we communicating this. We are having our Autism Month awareness this month of April, and we've had quite a few functions so far, and the next function we have coming up is on the 16th, which is this coming Sunday, and we're having a workshop at the BCD, the Barbados Council for the Disabled, and we are hosting a specialist therapist in how to get on and how to treat your child who is on the spectrum. And he has, Mr. Edson Sutton from St. Lucia, has spent about 40 years treating and communicating with people on the spectrum, and he has an amazing amount of experience to offer to parents especially.
All right, let me defer to Ms. Jack. Talk to me about your involvement with the organization and how you came to be a part of the Autism Association of Barbados.
Okay, well, I have my son Evan, who's 10 now. He's on the autism spectrum, and to be honest, I only joined the organization late last year. Um, Sometimes as a parent, the journey is really lonely, so you don't really know who to talk to, where to reach out, even having the support of other parents, that kind of thing. And I posted a challenge I was having um, on my journey with my son with autism on Facebook, and one person I knew said, you should join the organization because it's a good support group. It's there for wealth of information and just people who are experiencing the same thing. So I didn't join right away, but I eventually joined, and I can say that I am very happy to have joined. Like I said, sometimes you think you're the only experiencing this, or you're only the only parent with a child like this, or so on. Although you know differently, what you experience um, is that you think you're alone. So the organization really is there to lend that support and assist in sharing information and guiding and providing resources and that kind of thing.
I know in a big way, autism is still one of those little known about conditions. So talk to us now a little bit more, Mr. Johnson, about the process of finding out, because there might still be people out there who are not absolutely sure as to what it is, what they're looking for in children, and I'm not sure that the systems are in place to check early on as they should be in the island. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you. The first system in place, as it were, is your natural parents. The mother or the father will soon begin to notice that the child has not reached their developmental milestones. So if the child gets to the point where he or she is not talking, or at least beginning to communicate back to the parents that they are aware of the parents and that they are being shown how to speak or being pointed at and so on and so forth, even in their play, it will become clear to the parents that their child is different from their siblings, or in fact from the neighbor's children. So that when you have that noticed, you will begin to feel that something is not quite right, and that's the point at which you should take action. You should not hesitate. You should go and see your pediatrician or even your GP straight away and say, my child is being very different from the rest, and I suspect he or she is different, and it may be that they are not developing, and we need to know why. That's what you should do.
All right, what are some of the areas that we need development, Ms. Jack? I know a lot of parents with children with autism are still very concerned about their learning because they learn in very, very different ways. So what are some of the things the organization might be advocating for at this particular time where you're bringing awareness to autism in this month of April?
Okay, well, some of the things the first thing you have to disassociate yourself from is thinking that comparing, like Fred said, don't compare your child to other children, and seek, just by trial and error, basically seek how you could customize learning for that child. It's your child, so you're going to know how they best learn, how they best adapt to the environments they're in, that kind of thing. Like some children, well, most children with autism have problems with sensory overload. So, spaces that have a lot of activity going on, that kind of thing. You want to kind of, manage that to help with the behavior issues. And once you can get the behavioral, the responses to the environment under control, then you can focus on how this child learns, a lot of visuals, a lot of deliberate teaching. For my son, I find he doesn't mimic as much as, say, a neurotypical might. So you have to do a lot of deliberate teaching, hands-on stuff. It's very challenging because you have to move away from the traditional way that children learn. And what you will find is that some children on the spectrum have special gifts, or they're focusing on one kind of skill or gift or genius, if you might say. So you have to just find that space where you can identify what the child is gifted at, what the child does best, how they learn best, and just work it, just work that.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you mentioned that there's an event coming up at the Barbados Council for the Disabled. Who is targeted with that event? Is it an open event for the public? Are you targeting parents with, children with autism specifically? Who are we talking to, and how can we get involved?
We're targeting parents and caregivers of children. We're targeting families who have a child on the spectrum. And it's a free event. We start at 10 o'clock in the morning. We are there to give advice. It's going to be a workshop, so it's going to be interactive. It's not going to be a straightforward lecture. We expect people to actively take part and discuss their issues and their questions and their queries to this expert, and also draw upon the experience of the families who have been dealing with autism for such a long time. Lynn has just started. I have a son who is on the spectrum, and I've been dealing with him. If dealing's not the right word, by the way, I've been relating to him for the past 30 years. So that gives me a lot of experience, and it's free experience to offer everybody else. As Lynn said, you sometimes feel, especially young parents, they sometimes feel that they are up alone against the world. It's not true. There are people out here to help them, to advise them, to give their experience free, without prejudice and without cost as well. So this coming Sunday, 10 o'clock start, we're going to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're providing lunch to the parents and caregivers, and we expect a lively session.
I'm sure it absolutely will be. Thanks for coming through. And please don't be a stranger. I absolutely would love for us to work together to be able to share more information so parents are aware and not feel alone. So thank you again, Frederick Johnson, President, and Lynn Marie Jack, member of the Autism Association of Barbados. Best wishes on that event on Sunday. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tisha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tisha. Take care.
We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're talking about the Child Care Board coming to you. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bring...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 7:45, 15 minutes to go in the show, just 15 minutes before 8 o'clock. My, time flies when you are having fun, and I absolutely am having some fun and a great time really sharing with you this morning. And all themed, we're talking about young people and children. We had Aliane Oliver on a little bit earlier, agitating for matters to do with women and girls specifically. And now we've invited Roxanne Sanderson, who is Senior Child Care Officer and Child Abuse Coordinator with the Child Care Board, to tell us all about a new initiative where they are coming to communities around the island. So good morning and welcome.
Hi, Keisha. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Right. So as you said, go ahead.
Yeah, so the campaign for Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month takes a different shape this time around. And, this might be a touchy place to start, but usually when people think Child Care Board, they're kind of taken aback. It's like, I don't know. So it's good to hear that you're coming into the community in a way where we're engaging and not necessarily in an accusatory way, which is how people usually see the board.
That is so true, Keisha. I think people have the wrong perception of the Child Care Board. Too often they think that we're just here to remove their children, but that's not true. We're here to ensure that the children receive care and protection. And we have been going into the communities in different areas and in different ways. We have been working in the schools also. But this year, like last year, we're continuing to do the child abuse awareness and prevention. So bringing a sensitization to the public so that they are aware that, we need to stamp out this scourge of child abuse. And it is not just our business at Child Care Board, it's everybody's business.
Ms. Sanderson, do you think that people are truly aware of what abuse is on a large scale? Because sometimes when I see what people do in public, I'm thinking, I don't think they're sure.
You're absolutely correct. One of the things we recognize that persons don't really understand what is abuse, especially when we see in terms of neglect. Now, they may think that, okay, withholding love from a child is not abuse, but it is abuse, that's neglect, right? Again, they may speak to a child in a derogative manner, very abusing, like basically abusing the child and emotionally, and they don't understand that that constitutes abuse. We may also see parents say things and do things in children's presence and don't realize that this is a form of abuse. You see, we don't see the immediate effects of it, but the after effects is where, and the long-term effects is where we see this happening. When if the child is young, like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and then you keep emotionally abusing this child, calling the child names, putting the child down, telling the child it's no good, you don't look good, you look like your father, we carry on. Sometimes we women also are guilty of this, right? And fathers also. And we don't recognize that we're not doing the child any favor. We're just putting down that child emotion and working on negatively on the child's self-esteem. So we need to let the public be aware that they are different form of abuse, and that this also is a form of child abuse.
Listen, the line is so thin these days. I mean, it's so difficult because on the one hand, I feel like we have a new generation of children who are so, as we would say in Bajan parlance, touch us. Like, you can't say anything to them is, oh, you're fat shaming me, or you're doing something else, all these new terms. But then on the flip side of that, we have real instances of, like you said, neglect and verbal and physical abuse and all different types of abuse. So it definitely is needed, being able to head out and interact and engage with people at their level, where they are, in a way that they understand and feel comfortable. So let's talk about these places that you will be visiting throughout the month.
Well, yes, we are going to the, first of all, we're using the team, Speak Up, Speak Out, Report Child Abuse, right? And we are going to the malls. Today we're at Sheraton Center. My colleagues will be out there giving out literature and also, educating the public on child abuse. We're going to Sky Mall on Saturday, where there also be a booth setup. We're also going to Massey Warrens and Sunset Crest. We're going also to Jordan Supermarkets. We're hoping to get and Cherish Cosmetic, that's in Swan Street. We're going also to the other supermarkets. So we will be out and about in the community, sharing out literature in terms of child abuse and educating you, so you can come out and ask your questions. Too often, like you said, persons don't understand what is child abuse. We have a way of thinking, well, oh, I'm doing the right thing. But sometimes we do need that guidance. Parents do need that guidance in terms of how do we help parent our children.
All right, so definitely very interesting as you move around. Now, throughout this month, as we bring awareness to child abuse during this prevention month, you're asking people to wear blue in support of the awareness. Talk to me about that.
Right. So blue is recognized as it's recognized as the color for child abuse. This wearing of the blue ribbon, as you see, I have here wearing of the blue ribbon, that came about many years ago when a grandmother whose grandchild was abused, and she wore this blue pin ribbon as a symbol. And that became internationally known, and we all recognize blue as child abuse. So we're asking persons to wear blue, even the children are supposed to wear blue on Fridays, so that we bring this awareness that, yes, hey, I'm also in this fight against child abuse.
Wow. You know, there's so many places we can go with this in talking about abuse, but I think, you know, I want to stay in the realm of reminding people that they can get out and talk to you. You said you're going to have various teams heading out. Will the teams be dealing with specific topics as they go to different places, or are they just open to people coming up and engaging and asking questions and the like in a more informal type setting?
No, Tisha, they're open up to engaging persons, so you can approach. We have some literature and magnets and things that we're giving the public. It's not for sale, so you can just come up where you see the team, where they set up their booth. Come up and just ask any question that you may have, or any concerns, or anything you want to share, or even suggestions to the team, right? We're also having, at the end of the month, we have a walk against child abuse, and that's on the 29th of April. We also, when my colleague will come on a little later in your show to talk, well, next week, talk about the My Child Helpline app that we're also promoting or re-promoting, because that was launched before. But she will come on next week to talk about that. So we're encouraging persons to come. Don't be shy. We're not here to put anybody down. You can only, if you don't ask, you don't know. A lot of people think that we do certain things and which is not within our remit. So we need to educate persons that there's some things we can and cannot do based on legislation, right? So come on out and meet our teams wherever they are and ask your questions and get your answers, get your free literature. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We have a Trivia Tuesday. Tuesday was real fun, where they were able to, a question was posed and somebody answered correctly, and there will be prizes and surprises. So we're encouraging you to be part of the celebration.
And I'm happy that it will bring communities, bring you to the heart of our communities. So a reminder of the places: Sheraton Mall, 9:30 to 11:30 on. That's today.
That's today, right? That's today.
So you're going to be out and about today. That's why you're wearing your blue.
Yes.
And looking beautiful. Massey Warrens from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Sky Mall from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, April 15th. Massey Sunset Crest from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturday, April 22nd as well. And you're being encouraged to show your support by wearing blue. I want to thank you so much, Roxanne Sanderson, Senior Child Care Officer and Child Abuse Coordinator at the Child Care Board. Thank you for coming into our communities and helping us to bring awareness to this area.
Thank you, Tisha, for having us. And we just want to encourage persons, come on, ask your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely something that you want to look into, if only to find out a little bit more about what's happening. And I would imagine if there's something you know about or you're seeing in your neighborhood or even in your own home, it's a good idea to reach out to the board. You can find them on Instagram at Child Care Board Barbados, and their website is childcareboard.gov.bb. So, you know, we have no excuses. We absolutely can reach out and get some information if that's what's needed. And I'm sure it would be discreet as well. So with just about 4 minutes to go to the 8 o'clock hour, we are going to take a final break and come back and tell you all about the Big Bajan Bake Off. We're going to talk about Q in the community and tell you about what's coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My, and we're already at the end of the line. I had a great morning with you today. Lots to unpack, some heavy topics, but we had some lighthearted moments as well. So there are lots of events coming up this weekend that you definitely need to look out for. But we want you to bear in mind that we have Q in the community coming to you. Q in association with Banks Bear, inviting you to follow us to Rockfield Variety and Bar, Rockfield, St. Lucie, today, Thursday, April 13th. And Q in the community is sponsored by our partners, Deputy Bear, Guinness, Guinness Smooth, Hancho Linus, Barefoot Wines, Rider Hard Wines, Johnny Walker, Smirnoff Ice, Smirnoff Vodka, Black and White Whiskey, Pepsi, Juicy 7 Up, Creamery Ice Cream, Dasani Water, and Flash Zone Bar. Make sure you follow us to Rockfield Variety and Bar, Rockfield, St. Lucie, for some great line dancing, a little bit of karaoke, and just some good all-round community fun as only your friends at CBC and Q 100.7 FM can do. So make sure you head on out to that today. And I want to end by encouraging you to enter the CBC Big Bajan Bake Off. We are back for season 2. And all you have to do is send us a video, 3 minutes or less, showing us what you're making. It can be sweet or savory, whatever your delectable delight. Just make sure you send us that video and get in with a chance to win a fantastic prize. We have a great prize for you. For those of you who win, you have a great electronic prize, and then we have some other consolation prizes. But it will be all-round fun, and it will be great to see who has the best sweet bread in Barbados, or the best pudding, or whatever you make. I remember last time someone made a pot pie, which is not necessarily a Bajan thing, but it turned out very, very nicely. So make sure you get in on the Big Bajan Bake Off, and you have until Sunday at midnight to get those videos in. Remember, you are sending your videos to 253-9840. That's it for today, Thursday. Time really went by, but I had a great time being here with you. And God willing, I'll be back tomorrow. So have a great day today, and see you tomorrow. Don't forget to wear your smiles. On behalf of the entire crew, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.